Hi guys, welcome back. So a little bit of a fun video here to finish off the week. We're going to be talking about Michael Dutcher Motorsports and the 17 GP car that has had 8 different drivers run it so far this year, and they just announced, I think it was yesterday or the day before, the 9th driver that will drive this car in 2024, and that will be Hank Davis during the World Finals. Now, before we jump into all the numbers and everything, these finally came in the mail. We've got the mini wing panels here that channel member John O'Neill actually purchased and created himself. And John, thank you very much for putting these together, coming out of his own pocket and just doing it because he wants to see the channel grow a little bit more and more. We've got 15 of these panels out there right now. We're going to see, the demand for them, I guess you could say, and maybe we'll make some more, but we're going to see how this first little batch goes. And if more people want them, then we can make some more. But right now we have 15 of them. And I think we're going to sell them for $25. And then, of course, shipping will be added on top of that. If anybody is looking to get one of these, I'm trying to remember the measurements off the top of my head. I think it's 6 3/4 tall and I think like 16 and a half maybe wide. So if you would like one of these, here I can just kind of give you a little scale there I put up to the whiteboard. So just to kind of give you a little idea of how big they are. They've got holes on the back to be able to mount on the wall or whatever. But if you guys would like one of those, you can email me and we can get your shipping information and I can send you how much it is for the shipping and whatnot. My email is rodmanchase@gmail.com. So if you're interested in those, I'm thinking $25 plus the shipping cost on top of that. And I think that'll be, if we make more, that'll be the cost for them later on down the line as well. Looking at some drivers' wing panels on their websites, they're definitely a little bit higher than that. Obviously, I'm just a regular guy. I'm not a driver, so I'm not going to sell mine for double the price of what I just said for $25. But if you are interested, make sure to email me and we can get everything all figured out. This is the first ever product, I guess you could say, for this channel. So make sure to let me know in the email, rodmanchase@gmail.com, if you are interested. Now, let's get into this video. So Michael Dutcher Motorsports has had a lot of different shoes behind the wheel of his car. There's been a lot of seats mounted in this guy's car so far this year. I had a really good conversation with Michael back at Lernerville when High Limit was there, and he is definitely looking for somebody to run this car full-time and stop having the musical chairs of drivers coming through. And we're going to look today at the drivers that have driven this car, and maybe one of these guys could be a guy that is in it next year. I know that Dutcher really wants to go on some kind of national tour next year. We've talked about it here on this channel before, and he has been, I kind of like the approach he's doing, right? It's tough to get having one guy come in for 4 races or whatever and getting a good feel of it. But I do like what he's doing, searching around, seeing who might be a good fit for him, who he gets along with well and whatnot. And you got to applaud the guy. I mean, he's got a car out there on the racetrack and he's trying to make it happen. His car, mostly known throughout its entire history as a non-wing sprint car. A lot of success without the wing on top, but now he is kind of venturing more into the wing stuff. And next year he's trying to go pretty hard at it. So I'm excited to see who he finally chooses as the driver. But here is who he's had in the car so far. Justin Henderson is a guy that's ran the car the most. And so this is an order of how many races each guy has ran. Justin Henderson ran 10 races behind the wheel of this car, 7 of them with the World of Outlaws, 2 of them with High Limit, and 1 of them during a Houston Speedway local show. His best finish was the 13th place result during the Houston Speedway local race. He was 15th with the Outlaws at Red River Valley Speedway in North Dakota, and he did not qualify for either of the features at Lernerville. Now, Justin Henderson is a guy with a ton of experience, and he's been a full-time Outlaw before. He's been a guy that has been around the block a lot, so I like the idea to get a guy that's very experienced behind the wheel. The results, not exactly where they were hoping to be, obviously, but that was kind of in the infancy of this car being a wing sprint car, so Justin Henderson kind of working the bugs out there. Now, the next guy that had the most races in it was Cale Thomas. He had 8 races in it, including the Knoxville Nationals. He went there, actually won a heat race during the Knoxville Nationals. He had 4 races with the Outlaws, 2 with IRA. He also ran the Capitani Classic at Knoxville and the Front Row Challenge at Oskaloosa. Cale's best run was a hard charger, 14th at Beaver Dam. He was the hard charger that night with the Outlaws. He had a 7th place run with the IRA at Lincoln Park Speedway in Indiana. He did not qualify for the Capitani Classic, and he was 15th during the Oskaloosa race for the Front Row Challenge. So not too bad of results there. So Cale Thomas, I would say maybe is a guy that could potentially be in the running maybe for this car next year. The guy that I think is at the top of the list for Dutcher, he's had the most success very quickly, is Scott Boguski. 6 races under his belt in this car this year. He had 2 with High Limit, 2 with the IRA, and 2 with the POWRi 410 series. His best with High Limit, he did get crashed out in this one, 24th at Lucas Oil Speedway in Missouri. He did get a win with the IRA at the Mississippi Thunder Speedway. That was his first night in the car, and he was able to get a win right off the bat. So that was a big deal there. Got the first ever wing sprint car win for Michael Dutcher at Mississippi Thunder with the IRA. And he was also 7th at Texas Motor Speedway's dirt track with the POWRi 410 series. So the results kind of all over the map, right? A win, a dead last. But Boguski is a guy that has done the road before with the ASCS 360 series. And so maybe that's a guy. But I have heard that Boguski is still, working with the Liebig number 10 car that Ryan Timms has been running here a little bit recently. But Boguski, I have heard that those guys, that team and the driver, are still on good terms and more than likely are supposed to race more next year. I don't know if things have changed since the last time I've talked to Liebig, but Boguski, maybe he's a guy that could look at this car next year and say, hey, I want to go on a full-time schedule, and this is my best opportunity to do it here with a team that, has a lot of equipment under their belt with different cars and engines. They've got a ton of equipment. And I think they're trying to improve their engine program as well. Kelby Watt, he ran the car 4 different times. He ran it twice with the Outlaws and twice with High Limit. Neither of those races, neither of those attempts ever ended with him in the feature. So he did not qualify at Eldora, and he did not qualify at Route 66 Motor Speedway with the Outlaws as well. So a tough run there for Kelby Watt. Justin Peck, he ran this car as well. He ran it for 2 nights with the IRA when they had their little Indiana Speed Week there. His best run was a 4th place result at the Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. Obviously, we know that Justin Peck is not going to be a guy that's running this car next year. He is already signed on with Rudine to run full-time with High Limit. Jaden Rogers, another guy that's ran this car. Mostly, they announced in last year that Jaden Rogers was supposed to run this car full-time with USAC this year. Obviously, that did not come true. He ran 2 World of Outlaws races. He did not qualify for either of those at Tri-State Speedway in Hobstadt, Indiana. He also ran Jacksonville Speedway in Illinois against that 50-plus car field. Rogers is not a wing sprint car guy, so no surprise that he struggled there, but we do have him on the board, along with Cole Duncan, a very experienced driver. I thought this was a good idea from Dutcher to get a guy like Cole Duncan in the car. Unfortunately, things did not go well. He ran 1 race with the Outlaws. That was at Paducah Speedway in Kentucky. He did not qualify for that main event either. And then Ayrton Jennison, the most recent driver to run this car, it was with the Outlaws, and he did not qualify as well at Riverside International Speedway last weekend with the World of Outlaws. Now, we just talked about Hank Davis at the top of this video. He is the next driver to run this thing, and I really, really like this move from Dutcher, and I've said this in videos in the past. I feel like right now there's more car owners than there are drivers that are ready to go full-time on a national level and be competing for top 10s. Now, I'm not saying Hank Davis is a guy that is able to do that, but Davis has had a really good year with the ASCS National Sprint Car Tour. Obviously, that's 360. He's running that 2C car for Todd Carlisle. We know that car is going outlaw racing next year. Hank Davis does not have anything lined up, as far as I know, for next year. And this is going to be his World of Outlaws debut. I'm not sure if it's his 410 debut. It very well could be. But Davis has won several races this year with ASCS. I think he was top 5 in the point standings as well, his first time as a full-time wing driver. And so I think that Hank Davis is definitely an interesting pickup here for Dutcher. And it's going to be tough, though. I don't know if he'll make any of the shows at Charlotte. That is one of the sneaky tough fields of the year. I would say Charlotte, Volusia at the beginning of the year. Those are 2 of the toughest fields of the year besides the Kings Royal, Knoxville Nationals, National Open, big races like that, Houston Tyvek Nationals. Charlotte is going to be a tough field. Davis has never been there before. It'll be his first time behind the wheel of the car, his first World of Outlaws start. I'm not expecting him to light the world on fire at all, but I do think that, if Dutcher takes a flyer on somebody next year and decides to go with a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience, Hank Davis could be that guy. He did it this year with ASCS and did pretty darn well. Obviously, the next step up is a little bit tougher, but I would love to see a guy like Hank Davis get an opportunity next year to maybe be in this car and try and build this program up and do some incredible things. But yeah, I thought it'd be interesting to look at this video. 9 different drivers in this car in 2024. I might be missing one. It took me like 2 hours to put this board together to figure out who was in the car, what races they ran at, all the results. So I thought it might be an interesting video to put together. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully you had a good Halloween night, and hopefully you enjoy your Friday night here as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and comment down below. What do you think? Who was the best driver for the 17 GP in 2024? How do you think Hank Davis is going to do? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon.